Hey guys, welcome back. Now, ever since Michael Saylor has been investing in Bitcoin, let's be honest, he's never really had a good word to say about Ethereum. When it came to digital assets, there were only ever one: Bitcoin. However, after a recent ruling by the SEC, this seems to have had a big impact on Michael Saylor. And so in this video, we'll be covering Michael Saylor's latest thoughts on Ethereum as it appears he's starting to flip, then what this recent ruling change was by the SEC and why it's massively bullish for Ethereum, and then we'll finish up with some final advice by Michael Saylor for the average investor who has chosen to invest in altcoins. Okay, so first up, let's get the latest thoughts of Michael Saylor on Ethereum as it appears he's warming up to the other blue chip digital asset.
With regard to Ethereum, my observations are, I think it's auspicious that the SEC approved the futures Ethereum ETFs. Right, the fact that that those were approved is auspicious for Ethereum because they could have denied them. I think there's still a lot of uncertainty around what happens next because all the various use cases, are under regulatory scrutiny. So I think that in order to understand what happens next, you kind of have to be very sensitive to regulatory developments with regard to DeFi, with regard to crypto securities, with regard to stable coins. All of these are complicated areas. We could have multi-hour podcasts discussing all the nuances of every other, part of the digital assets economy. NFTs are interesting, stable coins are interesting, crypto digital exchanges are interesting. All these DeFi things, they're interesting. They're all interesting. They're all controversial. They're all risky. And I just want to make the point, which I make before. It's like, I think the 7,000 publicly traded companies are risky. And I think that investing in the 7,000 best buildings in the world is risky. And I think buying the 7,000 most desirable paintings ever painted is risky. You might overpay. Painting might get burned. Someone might rig the auction. Building might burn down. Company might fail. The iPhone 72 might not be in demand. They're all risky. Everything in the digital asset economy and the crypto economy, it's all risky too. So, you invest in all those things at your own peril, caveat emptor, right? The brilliance of Bitcoin is I want to make money without taking all those risks, right? And so that's all I have to say on this subject. And I wish everybody the best possible outcome, right? I think we should all live happily ever after.
And so, where once there was never any airtime for Ethereum, now Ethereum's recent developments are auspicious. Now, for me, I think our opinion should change as this new asset class develops. And as of right now, it appears it's only Bitcoin and Ethereum that's been given the special treatment and the green light by the SEC. So, what was this recent regulatory update which even caught Michael Saylor by surprise? The approval of an Ethereum futures-based ETF. And why was this so important? Well, the insiders know that you can't really approve a futures-based ETF without approving a spot-based ETF. Not many people know this, and it is huge for Ethereum. And did you notice as soon as the futures-based Ethereum ETF went live, what happened? BlackRock filed for their Ethereum spot ETF, as they too know the rules. Now, for all the people who are saying that Ethereum is going to die in this next cycle, I would just say two things. Where is your futures-based ETF that's been approved by the SEC? And where is your spot-based ETF application by BlackRock? And so the truth is that this puts Bitcoin and Ethereum in a very special bucket and gives them a huge advantage. And to prove this point, here is a quick clip from Gary Gensler himself, basically proving this point.
Underlying that, Bitcoin futures and I think Ethereum futures and so forth will exist, and Bitcoin ETFs have not, and that feels a little inconsistent to me as an observer. And I'm now, in academia, but it feels a little inconsistent, even though the laws aren't exactly the same. They're quite similar.
So even Gary Gensler himself says it's inconsistent to allow a futures ETF without a spot ETF. And think about it, BlackRock are not in the business of getting rejected. In fact, their approval rate right now is 575 to 1. They know the rules and they know how to get approved. And this is why Bitcoin and now also Ethereum have a huge advantage at the start of this next big bull market. Regulatory clarity and a doorway to trillions of dollars of new capital. As Michael Saylor says, auspicious. Okay, next up, here is one thing that the vast majority of people don't know, and Michael Saylor himself certainly won't be telling you this. And so this is a chart that Michael Saylor regularly likes to show people. And this was when MicroStrategy first adopted a Bitcoin strategy all the way back in August 2020. So on the right hand side, we have other enterprise software stocks. And he's showing that this company is down 3%. Then we've got 15, 30, and this company up over 100%, which is pretty good. In the middle, we have the big tech stocks, which have certainly done very well over the past year. But from August 2020, Amazon is down 7%, Netflix down 1%. Then we've got 30, 70, 80, and 85% for Google. And then on the left-hand side, we've got the key asset classes and indices. And it's showing that bonds have been crushed, silver is down, gold is down, Nasdaq's done well at 30%, S&P done well, 36%, but he's basically showing that Bitcoin has pretty much crushed everything else, up 221%. And then very interestingly, it's MicroStrategy stock that's done the absolute best, over 300%. However, the one thing that Michael Saylor will never show you is this. Let's just add on Ethereum. And as you can see, if MicroStrategy had adopted an Ethereum strategy instead, August 2020, then he would have crushed even MicroStrategy and also Bitcoin. Certainly something to bear in mind. Michael Saylor appears to be flipping on Ethereum, where once he would never even entertain a conversation, now with recent developments, he's now calling it auspicious. As of right now, it's just Bitcoin and Ethereum that's been given the special treatment and the green light by the SEC, allowing futures-based ETFs, which means that spot-based ETFs will soon be following, opening the doors to trillions of dollars of new capital. Interestingly, if Michael Saylor had implemented an Ethereum strategy back in August 2020, then this would have beaten both Bitcoin and MicroStrategy. So there you are, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and if you did, then drop a like, and let's finish up with Michael Saylor's best advice for people investing in the altcoin market.
And the way to live happily ever after is consider your counterparty risk very carefully. Consider all the regulatory risk very carefully. consider the underlying, asset very carefully. Think about your own personal circumstances, right? And then have a strategy and stick to the strategy, and don't flip this way and that with the wind, because the marketplace has a way of taking apart those who have little faith, don't have conviction, and haven't done the work to understand what they're invested in.